What's up, everybody? Jason Frausto for TennisUnleashed.net, and welcome to part 2 of our match analysis between Alexander Zverev and Novak Djokovic from the 2020 Olympic Games. To find out exactly how Zverev beat Djokovic at the Olympics, stay tuned because it's coming up next. Zverev played an incredible match at the Olympics, but how exactly did he win this match? Well, one of the biggest factors was his ability to hit his return to serve deep in zone 3. Zverev hit 35% of his return to serves deep in zone 3. Djokovic hit just 21% of his return to serves in this match in zone 3. So let's jump into some points and see how that helps Zverev win the match. I'm going to let this point play once in real time so you can get a look at it, and then we'll break it down. So you've got a longer exchange here between our players, right? Our points in the first video were a little bit shorter. Some good big targets and some small targets here. So let's jump in and let's break it down now. We've got Djokovic here on the near side serving and Zverev on the far side returning in the deuce court. You can see it's a second serve from Djokovic, right? It's an obvious kick serve, just a toss position, the way the arm is sweeping and following through here. Kick serve to Zverev, and Zverev being 6'6", these kicks, even on a slow, high bouncing court, do not bother him as much as they'll bother other players. So he takes that backhand, which he loves, and he does a very good job, Zverev, here, of not just hitting a pure power return, he does that too, but on this one, he hits a little heavier, and he really rolls up on the return with the hands and the racket to get a spinny, deep return, and he finds zone 3 depth against Djokovic. Djokovic is very good from these defensive positions. So just because Zverev hit deep in zone 3, it doesn't mean Djokovic is going to hit short, but let's see what happens. He does end up hitting short on this particular one, right? And he hits in zone 1. We see Zverev here. This is his opportunity to get aggressive if he wants to, but he doesn't seem to feel any pressure. He's getting into a slice backhand position, so he's not going to just try to overpower Djokovic on the first shot. So he chips it here. And we can see it's a pretty good chip. Djokovic not really bothered by a chip probably on this slow court and not in general for the most part. So to me, it looks like Djokovic is pretty confident on this take back, and he's probably going to take the ball down the line to get aggressive here and try to maneuver Zverev to force a short ball. Let's see if he can do it. Takes down the line, and he goes down the line into a big target in zone 2, and he's trying to maneuver Zverev over to the side to try to get him to hit short. Let's see if it happens. He does hit short with good pace, and Djokovic knows if I'm getting a short ball, anything in zone 2, this is an opportunity for me to move you around or hit big or both. So he does that, moves him again, doesn't take a high risk, but just moves him again from one corner to the other to try to force a short ball. But Zverev is so strong on this backhand side that he can take this inside out backhand and do damage to his opponents. He does it all the time, and he does it right here. So he takes the opportunity and says, I'll get aggressive first, Novak, like with power, and maneuvers Djokovic to this side of the court, hoping to get a short or weak ball. He does draw that right here, right? So we see it. Short ball here, weak in zone 2. And then Zverev recognizes that, moves closer to the baseline to take time and to really get aggressive, and just thumps this one down the line. That's a great shot, and he ends up hitting it into a big target deep in zone 3. Let's go back for a second now and watch that again. Djokovic serving, second serve kick. Zverev mixes it up by hitting the heavy, spinny deep return instead of just a laser, right? Mixing up the rhythm and timing. Djokovic hits short. Zverev doesn't feel pressure, just slices this one. Gives Djokovic the opportunity really to be the aggressor first in the point versus Zverev. Djokovic takes it right here. Zverev does a good job of getting a little pace but doesn't get the depth. And Djokovic takes the right opportunity and maneuvers him down the line to try to draw the short ball. But Zverev with that big backhand, he could do damage on that. He does it right here and then forces Djokovic to hit a little weak and a little short. You can see it lands right here in zone 2, and then Zverev moves up and hits the thumper winner down the line. Let's move on to the next point now. I'm going to let this play once in real time before we break it down. See another good exchange between both players right here, right? A lot of green dots, which are those big targets versus small targets. Really extended length point here. So this is definitely on the longer side. And then we see the finish. Let's break this thing down. So you got Djokovic serving on the near side here, ad side, and then Zverev returning on the ad side on the far side. Nice first serve here. Djokovic, really good spot server, so really places his serves well, which sets up a lot of weak returns, and then he'll get aggressive on those balls if he wants. Zverev, though, does a very good job here as a returner. Again, 35% of his returns landed in zone 3, and this is another example of that. Off of a pretty good serve, he gets Djokovic on his back foot on defense. Djokovic there, very defensive shot. This was like, I'm not confident enough to do anything with this. I'm really just going to roll this soft into the court, and he does that. But he finds pretty decent depth. He's almost in zone 3. We know Zverev, though, huge backhand and will get aggressive, so let's see what he does. And he does it, right? He's like, I love my backhand. If you're going to give me backhands, I'll take them all day, and then I'll also get aggressive when I get forehands, but such a big backhand. Zverev here has such a big backhand, he could hit through the slow court if you gave him the sitter balls. And that's shown in the winner stats, right? 29 winners for Zverev versus 12 for Djokovic, because Zverev had the power to get through the slow court, where I don't believe Djokovic quite has enough juice to hit through a court this slow. So he does that, and again, Djokovic so good on D that he finds zone 3 off a difficult ball to try to neutralize this whole situation. Zverev, though, little angle here, tries to angle Djokovic off. It lands in zone 2. Djokovic uses that as an opportunity to move the ball, but I would say the mistake is, right, he moves it, but it's too far inside the single sideline. Zverev, that big backhand, if you don't give him something over here, he's getting aggressive on this ball. I promise you, he does. He loves that. And this is one where Zverev flattens it out, right? He's like, okay, Novak, you're on this side of the court. You've hit more towards the middle-ish, and I love my backhand. I'm going to pound this one to open it up, and he does it. The first look he gets, he pounds it, not deep, but just super hard, and gets Novak in a completely defensive situation the first opportunity he gets. Djokovic comes over, and he does what Djokovic does, which is he consistently finds zone 3 usually from these poor positions in the ground strokes. It's tough. Zverev, though, he looks like he's loading his body again, and he looks like, okay, we're at the point, in this particular point, where I'm going to start hitting bombs against you and hitting big shots. So he does it again, and this time, right, close to a small target, depth is in zone 3, and he's got Novak in a position where it's complete defense, and there's really probably not a great opportunity for Novak to counter or reverse the situation. And he ends up hitting short in zone 2 here. And again, great opportunity for Zverev to load his body up and deliver a big hammer. He does that this time again, zone 2 ball, and rips it into zone 3, into a small target. This is the quote-unquote double whammy. When your opponent is doing this to you, they've probably got you on severe defense, okay? Djokovic comes over. He is on extreme defense from this position. He's almost doing the splits at this point because that's how flexible he is, and he's on the complete stretch. And he tries his best to get it down, but he's just forced into the air. So let's go back to the beginning real quick. So it really all starts with that deep return of serve from Zverev right here. Nice depth, forces Djokovic onto the back foot, and then takes the first look in the point he has and goes deep with that confident backhand, and again gets Novak on defense here. Djokovic does a great job of countering, and Zverev tries to angle him off. Djokovic makes the tactical mistake here of not going more down the line. He hits into that strong backhand in a position where Zverev can easily run him the other way, makes a mistake here tactically, and Zverev takes it as soon as he sees it. Djokovic tries to save the day and counter here, right? And he does, but it sits up on this slow court that we've talked about. This court is so slow that his normal defensive balls were sitting up where Zverev could still hit and attack through the court, and he does that. Boom, right there. This one is shorter now in zone 2. It really sits up. Zverev goes for the double whammy, the small target plus zone 3 depth, hits it, and that's the one that forces the air. One thing that was really interesting about this match was Zverev's ability to go toe-to-toe and head-to-head with Djokovic on the backhand side. Let's jump into some points now and take a closer look at that. All right, so we have the first point up. I'm going to let this play once in real time before we jump into the analysis. All right, let's break it down. All right, so we've got Zverev here returning on the near side and Djokovic serving on the far side. Let's get into the point. Second serve again. The kick serve, we talked about it before, did not bother Zverev because he's such a tall player at 6'6". Does a good job here of establishing a big target wide in the court, pretty close to zone 3, getting Djokovic on the defense right away. And then from here, we see Djokovic ends up hitting short in zone 2. Anytime you're getting balls in zone 2, unless they're hit really, really hard, this is an opportunity for you to either hit deep in the court or hard or really maneuver your opponent. So Zverev here takes this right away, right? He's confident in his backhand. He loves the stroke. Goes zone 3 to a small target to try to do damage to Djokovic. Novak tries to neutralize this, but he makes a mistake on this particular shot. And what I mean by that is the mistake is that he tries to get the depth, but he doesn't get depth, and he's not doing damage to Zverev. So you're hitting a wide ball, weak in the court. This is a great opportunity for Zverev to really load up on the shorter ball and go down the line aggressively or go back behind you cross court. Let's see what he does. And he rips this one deep into zone 3, right? So he finds that depth into zone 3 right here, changes direction and forces Djokovic to go from one end of the court to the other, trying to force the air or a short ball. And what does he get? He gets exactly what we talked about. He gets a short ball here in zone 1. This is now another opportunity for Zverev to get aggressive. And he takes it, right? He gets aggressive here by changing direction. It's not deep, but he's really close to a small target, so he's making a move from one end to another again, trying to do damage through movement. Djokovic ends up hitting again short here from this defensive position in zone 1. And that means Zverev, if he wants, he can get aggressive. He's got all sorts of opportunity if he wants to take it, but he just slices. He feels so confident backhand to backhand with Djokovic, and I've never really seen this before, where he's like, you know what? You hit short into zone 1. I feel no pressure to do anything with this ball. I'm just going to rally, okay? We're just going to stay here and we'll figure it out. And he does that. And he takes it, and this one lands close to zone 3 depth-wise, right? It's just a neutral ball, essentially. And Djokovic says, I'm going to change direction, and I'm going to try to take this and do damage by getting depth in zone 3, and he just misses it a little bit long. Let's go back to the beginning of the point for a second. So again, Djokovic serving that second serve. Zverev, pretty good return here. And then as soon as Zverev gets the look on a shorter zone 2 ball, he takes it. Double whammy, small target, plus zone 3 depth. Djokovic hits weak again. Zverev so confident in that backhand. He goes big target down the line, aggressive, forces the short ball here in zone 1. Now he's got a forehand, moves the ball again, gets Djokovic on defense, feels no pressure in the backhand to backhand rally cross court, and just decides to float the chip here. Djokovic trying to do something, trying to do the right thing really, and then ends up making the unforced error. Let's move on to the last point now, and we'll let this play once in real time before we break it down. Zverev this time is a server. Djokovic returning a second serve. Nice exchange back and forth between the guys. A lot of big targets here. And then the big backhand at the end. So let's break it down. We've got Djokovic here returning from the ad side and Zverev serving from the ad side on that far side here. We've got a second serve situation, a kick. Djokovic here with that return to serve on the forehand side from zone 4. And what's he try to do on those returns? He tries to float a lot of them into zone 3 to force short or weak balls. Again, the problem with this, he didn't play the court 100% properly. This slow court meant a lot of his floaters were just sitting, and that let Zverev get aggressive. So Zverev decides he's going to go down the line, right? And he takes it down the line, tries to get aggressive, pretty much finds zone 3 here, back of zone 2 really, but gets aggressive with his pace, flattens it out a little more. Djokovic does a tremendous job. Just go back for a second. Tremendous job of taking a difficult ball with pace and does a great job of finding zone 3 and almost the small target, which again forces most people into defense here. But Zverev does a very good job showing off his counter skills, right? So, all right, you moved me, you hit a very good shot. I'm just gonna roll this nice and spinny and deep and find the back of zone 3, which is gonna make anybody uncomfortable to an extent. Djokovic here is in a very, very defensive position right here with the body. You can see how defensive it is. On the back foot, can't rotate into the shot and he's jammed. So he literally just puffs this up and tries to hit a deep ball. But again, with as big as Zverev's backhand is, he's like, all right, I have no problem hitting these kind of inside out backhands. And he just nukes it down the line. It's incredible. He's very comfortable with that backhand when you're giving him some time. This is a shot not a lot of guys hit where they take it inside out, but he takes it inside out, hits the small target in zone 3. So double whammy again, and that's enough to finish off the point. All right, so that wraps it up for part 1 of our match analysis on how Alexander Zverev beat Novak Djokovic at the Olympic Games. If you found this video helpful or you feel like you learned something today, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. I'm Jason Frausto for TennisUnleashed.net. I'll see you next time.